All right, NFL playoff time, ladies and gents. Who you got in the Super Bowl? Well, let's make some picks here. Always a fun and futile exercise, right? Now, I'm not here to pretend that I'm any sort of football expert or certainly not a betting expert of any kind. I am, however, an occasional wagerer and a football nerd, as you can plainly see behind me here on these shelves of nostalgia. Okay, so let's get to it. Here's my bracket. All right, quick peek at who Vegas likes here. According to the FanDuel odds, we got Seattle is the favorite at 390, followed by the Rams, Broncos, Eagles, and Pats. So basically, Vegas likes a Seattle-Denver rematch for the Super Bowl. I say rematch because you'll remember the 2014 Super Bowl when Peyton Manning, Demaryius Thomas, Wes Welker, that Broncos team was breaking records on offense. And they went up against the Seattle team with the Legion of Boom, Marshawn Lynch and them guys. And from the opening snap that went over Peyton Manning's head, it was basically game over. Defense won out. Bookmark that, kids. That's going to be a theme today. Defense. All right, let's get to the bracket. First game on the AFC side here, we've got the Chargers against the Pats. Give me the Pats in this one. Chargers have a defective O-line, and I'm worried. I would like them a lot better. I love Jesse Minter's defense, but not really tempted to pick the upset on that one. Pats very squared away on offense. They don't have a great pass rush to take advantage of that Chargers D, so I could see the upset, but I'm not picking it here. Give me the Pats. Next one's a good one, man. We got Bills-Jags down in Duval. Liam Cohen has the Jags turned around this year. Definitely, probably the biggest surprise here in the playoffs if you don't count the Panthers. But the Jags, man, I was convinced preseason that Trevor Lawrence wasn't good at football anymore, and apparently I was wrong. The Bills, meanwhile, been pretty inconsistent this year. Tough to bet on them, right, from what we've seen. But give me the Bills. I'm rolling with the Bills despite the inconsistency. I think they've underperformed their roster quite a bit this year. And as you'll see going forward in the playoffs, I like to lean on overall roster health and roster construction when it really matters. The Josh Allen factor is the icing on the cake. Give me the Bills in that one. No need to spend too much time on this last one, guys. Texans win this one on the road convincingly. They have an elite defense that I think is going to overpower and overwhelm the Steelers' offensive line. I'm not convinced Aaron Rodgers can really throw it more than 5-10 yards at a time. And their run game really isn't that great. Steelers defense I like. They're playing better. Texans roll. All right, NFC side, guys. Bears-Packers. Really good one again. Could go either way. I don't like how Green Bay's playing down the stretch. They're injured. So I'm going Bears on this one. I love Ben Johnson, what he's done with the team. Got a preseason bet on him for Coach of the Year. Hope that works. Probably won't. I also bet them preseason to make playoffs. So my bias is telling me they need to roll here. They probably will. I think they've got enough parts on defense. It's certainly not a good defense, but on offense, man, they can run the ball. I love that run game. And Caleb Williams, good enough to make the plays needed to win at home. Bears roll. Next, we've got San Francisco going to Philly. Man, Philly's been inconsistent this year, but that is my favorite roster on paper to start the season and now, despite the inconsistencies, and especially on offense. I'm concerned that they can't run the ball as well as they did last year. That offensive line is maybe getting a little old. It's certainly not super healthy. All that being said, name one player San Francisco has on defense? I mean, on offense, they're pretty good, but I like Philly in this one. Probably to beat the spread, too. All right, last and least on the NFC side, we've got Rams over Panthers in this last game. Look, not too much to talk about here either. The Rams are awesome. They could win the whole thing. The Panthers are lucky to be there. This really should have been the Buccaneers. Give me the Rams. All right, second round. Bills-Broncos. Man, this one's a little bit of a coin toss. I see this one potentially going either way. And in those cases, I like to look at things like home field advantage, coaching, and overall roster talent. I think the Broncos have an elite defense. I can't point to really anything that the Bills do at an elite level, except Josh Allen, quarterback play, pulling something out of his ass. I can see that happening. But overall, give me the Broncos at home. Sean Payton figures out clever ways to stop Josh Allen coming off the bye. and the Broncos win. Texans at New England. Both teams playing some really damn good football this time of year when it counts. The main flaw with the Texans, as you guys know, is their offensive line. But the Pats, as we mentioned before, they don't really excel with the pass rush. I think the Texans' offense has been better. It's still not great. Their defense, however, is elite, and it travels. So give me the Texans and a very close one in New England. All right, next up, Rams Seahawks for the third time. This one's in Seattle. The previous games have been awesome. I like the Seahawks in this one. They're a more complete team, I believe, and they have an elite defense. So you're noticing a pattern here. Elite defenses tend to travel. They tend to win. I have too many memories of too many playoff games where that's been true, and I just don't trust Stafford's health, Puka's health. Health is more of an issue at this point for the Rams than the Seahawks. Seattle wins. And to wrap up the divisional round here, we've got Eagles going to Chicago to play the Bears. I think this is where the party ends for the Bears. Great season, and hopefully it's enough to win Ben Johnson Coach of the Year. Let's go. But the Eagles in this one, probably, again, the best roster in the NFL. That D-line is too much for the Bears O-line. I think they can confuse Caleb Williams with some of their coverages and their secondary talent. Despite the lack of run game there for the Eagles that I do worry about, Eagles roll. All right, conference championships. We got Texans, Broncos. Whew. Battle of the defenses. Probably a rock fight in this one. Looking forward to that. I like old school smash mouth, okay? And this game should deliver. Peyton, probably slightly better coach than DeMeco. Game is in Mile High. Altitude is bothersome for some teams. Give me the Broncos in this one. Mostly because the Texans are a flawed team. Keep that in mind. Despite how well they've been playing, that O-line is bottom of the league, okay? Broncos figure out ways to exploit that. And even though I don't know really how the Broncos are going to score much in this one, I got to favor the Broncos overall roster. All right, NFC Championship, we've got Eagles going to Seattle. Brutal game to have to pick. Probably the hardest one in this whole bracket, at least for me. Part of me still wants to agree with Vegas and send the Seahawks to take on the Broncos in the Super Bowl and have that rematch that we talked about earlier. I'm not going to do it. Give me the Eagles in this one. I like their overall roster a little bit better. Seattle's O-line bothers me just a little bit. Man, the Eagles, they've had so many issues. I'm not confident. But I got to think that talent will out in the end. Their O-line is still amazing. Their D-line's filthy. Their defense is nasty. They made the midseason acquisition to pick up the Dolphins pass rusher to bolster the D. Give me the Eagles. They're going back to the Super Bowl. All right, guys, we finally made it to the Super Bowl. If you've made it this far, I love you. Drop me a follow. We should be friends. I'm going to follow you back. In this one, we've got the Broncos and the Eagles. Two of the best rosters coming into the season. Again, I pick some games every year preseason based on really just rosters alone. And most of that's wrong because, people outplay their rosters all the time, but sometimes not. And so my thing in the playoffs, all things being equal, give me the strongest rosters. The Broncos, they really don't have too many flaws on their rosters. Neither do Philly. So who wins? Well, Broncos had some magic the first time they went and played in San Francisco. The last Super Bowl they played was in San Francisco, and that was the great Von Miller game where he wrecked Cam Newton and the Broncos won a championship. I like it to happen again. Give me Denver to upset, maybe? Nah, they're the 1 seed. Nonetheless, Broncos to beat Philly. Anyway, Broncos find a way. Sean Payton, that defense, they're elite. Bo Nix maybe grows up a little bit. Broncos for the win. Let me know who you got in the Super Bowl. And hope this helped. Hope it was fun. Catch y'all later.